Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.
Let's go.
Lay your weary head to rest.
Good night.
Don't you cry no more.
A certain percentage of wrestling fandom probably thought that the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega bit off a little more than they could chew when they launched AEW. But whether you love them or you hate them, you have to admit, the industry is flourishing today because of these three individuals and their plethora of too sweets and super kick parties. The Elite has changed the game forever, especially with some of their epic entrance music escapades. That being said, I'm Kevin Callis from Wrestling Behind the Themes, and here are the Elite Top 10 AEW theme songs of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Not so much a theme song per se, but the retro prelude of Kenny Omega is an intense, drawn-out precursor to his primary battle cry entrance music, reminiscent of the goosebump-inducing hometown introductions from Michael Jordan and his Chicago Bulls teams who dominated the basketball hardwoods back in the 1990s. And you can certainly feel the energy of this track ramping up all the way down in North Carolina!
Y'all ready for this?
Speaking of hoops, in 2021, during the special Fight for the Fallen edition of AEW Dynamite, the Elite battled their former BFF, Hangman Adam Page, and his misfit buddies, the Dark Order, in a 5-on-5 elimination match. Wearing Space Jam-themed Toon Squad uniforms, the Elite made their entrance that night to this legendary ESPN jock jam by the dance group 2 Unlimited called Get Ready for This. Now for this one shining moment, it was revealed on an episode of Being the Elite that the Young Bucks ponied up $50,000 for the rights to use the song, which you have to consider as Looney Tunes, since the track was only used for one night only. But I guess when you're a couple of EBPs, you can run the joint however you so choose.
Yeah, baby. We're the Young Bucks always.
In terms of understanding the assignment, the Young Bucks scored an A++ with their special pay-per-view gear at 2022's Double or Nothing, accompanied by a song parody of Elvis Presley's Viva Las Vegas, entitled Viva Los Young Bucks. As goofy, gaudy, or campy as the music may have been, because the Bucks entertained us once again, we should all be saying thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, baby. The Young Bucks. Thank you very much.
Loaded by Zach Tempest is a generic piece of stock rock music that'll forever be connected to the Hardys, as this blitzkrieg bopper became synonymous with Team Extreme when their popularity skyrocketed during the WWE's Attitude Era. Now, some internet trolls have been accusing the Bucks of Youth for years of being Hardy Boys cosplayers, so they took that theory and ran with it on an episode of AEW Rampage in May 2022. When this music began to play that night, the fans in attendance went wild, but much to the chagrin of the crowd, out came the Jacksons dressed up like the Hardys. Nick and Matt even mocked Matt and Jeff by mimicking their mannerisms as they messed around at the top of the ramp before unveiling a spooktacular surprise appearance by Gangrel, the Hardys' former fanging and banging friend and leader of the New Brood. Speaking of spooktacular, you can always count on pro wrestling to celebrate every single holiday you can imagine. But Halloween and wrestling have been quite the pair for decades. Whether it was the WWE hosting a costume contest on Saturday night's main event back in the mid-80s, or NXT recently bringing back Halloween Havoc, All Hallows Eve is the perfect time to go all out. And that's exactly what the Elite did in 2021. On a special Halloween episode of AEW Dynamite, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Adam Cole Oh baby, dressed up as the Ghostbusters for their 8-man tag team main event versus the Dark Order. And while they may not have been able to cross their streams and bust any ghosts with their proton packs that night, the supergroup's entrance did come correct with a remixed version of Ray Parker Jr.'s famous Ghostbusters theme, courtesy of the man that everyone now calls when they need some elite entrance music, Mr. Mikey Ruckus. Perhaps you're beginning to notice a pattern with the Elite and Halloween, because during the first ever Halloween-themed episode of AEW Dynamite, the Bucks showed up to the ring dressed in Street Fighter costumes, while Kenny cosplayed as everyone's favorite Mii Gunner, Sans from Undertale. Now Undertale, as an RPG, has a ton of memorable elements, including its characters, humor, story, and genuine message of kindness, but it's more widely recognized for its top-tier soundtrack, which is full of great ambient tracks and is a wonderful complement to the game. One song that stands out in particular is probably gaming's most iconic final boss battle theme of all time, Toby Fox's instantly recognizable Megalovania, which accompanied Kenny to the ring that night as he basked in all his gamer geek glory.
Super Kick Party!
How can you not jump out of your seats and hit the famous Young Bucks pose once that loud exclamation comes over the arena loudspeakers? This triumphant track gives the audience an immediate boost in energy by welcoming the supremely athletic brothers who have set the pro wrestling tag team scene ablaze for the past decade with their hilarious antics, great in-ring ability, and massive merch legacy. Super Kick Party is the perfect, annoying, bubble-gummy pop song for them to use because it's grand and explosive, just like their fake money cannons. Time and time again, the Bucks have proven that you can have a highly successful professional career outside of the WWE monopoly, and they are poised to continue killing the business for years to come. One of the most underrated aspects that makes the Young Bucks so undeniably popular and able to move those mountains of merch in a single bound is the music associated with the duo. But what many people may not realize is that their music and the music of the Elite has been created, produced, and recorded by Matthew Lee Massey, otherwise known as the Young Bucks' dad, aka Papa Buck. Since 2016, this theme right here, made famous by the popular YouTube series Being the Elite, has been the epic title track following the adventures of these good Christian boys and their buddies as they've traveled the world. A Grammy-worthy 5-star classic of a song that, for lack of a better alliterative adjective, is an elite earworm that will bounce around in your brain for months, if not years. Just kick back and take a look at the size of this gimmick, because Packin' Heat, the original AEW entrance music for the Super Elite, created by AEW music producer Mikey Ruckus, is off the charts too sweet. This badass concoction of basically 3 iconic faction theme songs mixed together, the Bullet Club, the NWO, and Evolution is a Mystery, truly makes this all sound like a top-tier banger. The only knock on keeping this noise track out of the #1 spot is because we only heard this tune played a handful of times, but perhaps we'll get to hear this Elite anthem again someday once we get another spin-off group of the Elite. Perhaps this time they'll be called the Super Undisputed Elite Click Club? Kenny Omega would likely tell you he's been the biggest star in all Elite Wrestling, and really, who are we to argue? The critically acclaimed Best Bout Machine has been using this bop of a theme created by Little V Mills after jumping ship from New Japan and ditching his certified cleaner heater, Devil's Sky. Battle Cry just has a different vibe and feel that ultimately separates New Japan Kenny from All Elite Kenny. Initially panned by the markiest of marks, this tune fittingly grows on you like it's gradual and slow introductory build until it finally explodes into a hard rock version of Mega Man's music. Little V's vocal performance, the rapid-fire drum pedaling, and the cutting of this song have helped it become the Elite fan favorite amongst the wrestling purists who bashed it at the beginning.